welcome to another episode of the Monday Morning Learning Podcast. We're looking at Campus Catalyst season now. We got Pankaj Rai, our guest. Pankaj is the Chief Data Analytics Officer of Aditya Birla Group. Warm welcome to you, Pankaj, as you sip your tea. And
Thank you, Ravi.
we have Brunda, we have Vishnu Priya, and we have Harsh, the students from the campus. I'll give you time for you guys also to introduce. So, Pankaj has had his education at IIM and IIT and worked in a plethora of companies from ICICI to Dell to Wells Fargo and now with Aditya Birla Group as the Group Chief Data Analytics Officer. He's a fantastic leader. He's a personal mentor of mine and to a lot of people. Very inspiring leader as such. Now, I'll leave the short introduction there, Pankaj. Brunda, go ahead with your introduction, please.
Good morning. My name is Brunda. I'm at the Department of Computer Science at Bapuji Institute of Engineering and Technology. I have completed my first year and now stepping into my second year of BE. BIET is reputed college with NAC A grade, excellent infrastructure, experienced faculty, and vibrant campus life. It allows quality education, good, strong research opportunities, and active college fest like Davana. Thank you.
Very nice, Vrinda. Good to be here.
Vishnu?
Yeah.
Vishnu Priya.
Good morning, sir. I'm Ravinuthala Sree Vishnu Priya. I'm currently pursuing my BTech in CSC at Vignan Institute of Management Technology for Women. Our institution is very good at innovative challenges, research, and technology and industry exposure fields. So I feel very privileged and honored to be part of this podcast. I thank my management, Ravi sir, to have such an interactive session with inspirational leader Pankaj Rai sir. Sir, so as a data analytics officer, chief data analytics officer at Aditya Birla Group, I'm so excited to have this interaction with you, sir.
Good to hear from you, Vishnu Priya. And now Harsh.
Good morning, sir. I'm Harsh Gulwani. I'm currently a third-year student at NMIMS Mumbai. My university is well regarded for both management and technology. The course I have been doing, it also a culmination of AI and data science. I'm also currently having subjects of business and cybersecurity, which make us ready for the industry. And seniors from my department and program have gone on to secure strong placements, even internationally. And it's great to have you today in this podcast with us. And the career which you have, it's really inspiring for us.
Right. Actually, and Ravi keeps bringing me up with different sets of people to talk to. I think first time it is students like yourself. One of the things that I have learned and which I want to share with you is that, many of us who have come before you and had careers, and when you look at our CV or our LinkedIn profile, it may give you a picture of whatever you think. You have connected the dots and you think this is what we have done and this, that, and the other. But someone, I don't know who it was. It was Steve Jobs or someone who said that all these dots connect looking backward. They don't connect looking forward. So just remember that you are seeing someone like me or anyone else, and the CV or the dots seem very nicely connected. It's just that that's not how it was intended to be. So if you had asked me at any point in time, I would have had no idea to tell you what's going to happen in the future. So just so that you know that sometimes you feel that all of these people who are ahead of you, and usually people that you meet who are seen to be successful. And you don't meet people who are quote unquote seen to be unsuccessful. So you're seeing a very, what should I say, outlier population of people. And while there is something that you can pick up from our life lessons, what you haven't seen are other people who may not have come here. And there's a lot to learn from others also, by the way. So I'm just saying that don't feel that some of us have all the answers. We will have some experience and some ideas. The message I would give to everyone is that you will have to figure out your answers over time. It will happen slowly. You can pick up some ideas, but by no means anyone will have the same career as me or anyone else for that matter. So just that is useful to keep in mind, because many a time you look at some people who you put on a pedestal and believe that whatever they have done, you could follow on their paths. Today, I don't think anyone can follow on anyone else's paths, because most of those paths will not exist. And for us also, they didn't exist. They just happened to be connected when we look back. Oh, this is the path we followed. I don't think those paths existed even then. So just letting you know that don't go into the halo effect of believing that some of us know a lot. And if we tell you something and you follow, that will happen. I think what will eventually happen is your own curiosity, your own experimentations, your own experiences, and whatever you learn through that, that is the most trustworthy thing. Everything else is a good hypothesis to keep in mind. So with that preamble, let me give it back to Ravi.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. It's driven by students today. So Vishnu Priya, go ahead with your questions.
Thank you for joining us today, sir. It's truly inspiring to have this conversation with you. To begin with, I would like to ask my first question. In today's highly competitive job market, how critical is a strong educational foundation for aspiring data analytics professionals? And how does it influence long-term in this field, sir? And I would also want to suggest a best postgraduate and other specialization programs that the students can pursue who are being interested to get into this data analytics.
Right. If you look at educational foundation, it will have several ways to look at education. One is, the brand of the college. I mean, all of you guys are going to some colleges. Different colleges have different brands. So many a time people ask me that, what is the value of the brand of a college? There are these institutes which have names, some have lesser name, all of that. So clearly, any brand does have some meaning. I mean, when you buy a brand of either a toothpaste or a cloth or any such thing, I think the brand basically signifies that there is someone who has verified the authenticity of that product, and therefore brand do carry some weightage. So I don't think we should ignore the brand, because many times people say that, why should I care about brand? But I think we all know that the brand really is a accumulation of good delivery of that product to other consumers, and therefore that's why the brand is created, whether it is a toothpaste or an education institution. So I do think that brands do carry some weightage, because when you come from a certain brand, then that brand also weighs on you, and people look at you in a positive way. So that's one. Second is the core technical skill that the educational brand signifies. Now, today, what I'm increasingly finding is that, a lot of technical stuff people are able to pick up even online. You can have the best professors from any college, you have access to them. And if you are diligent, you can do that. But many a time people are not disciplined and diligent. So therefore, a classroom setting and a teacher coming in and all of that does enable you to be disciplined about it and acquire the technical knowledge. Although a lot of people are able to acquire technical knowledge without that, they can just go online, and if they have the discipline, they can get it, right? So that the core education part, I think that the college environment provides a discipline structure, and those who lack discipline can benefit from it. Those who don't, frankly, can actually acquire that knowledge on their own also. I think the third relevance of any education is the network that you create, because more often than not, in today's and the future world, I think the network effect is very important. In the past, you could be a lone person, and without maybe too much of collaboration, you can get things done. In today's day and age, you have to be a network person, because the past age belonged to manufacturing. If you look at manufacturing by nature of this, if it was an assembly line, and if you did your job well, didn't frankly collaborate too much with anyone else, the car could still get produced, right? But today, most of the jobs are all in the cognitive world, where there is teamwork, there's collaboration, there's trust, there's a lot of soft skills. So I think a college environment also provides you an opportunity to develop some of those soft skills. working in a team, how do you influence people, how does your idea get accepted by others, all of those types of things, right? So that network that you create also stays with you in the long run. So therefore, I think the brand of the college, the technical capability, and the network, to me, are the three different things that any college is expected to provide. And I'm sure you will gather that. And it is just a starting point, because unlike in my days when education got finished and we continued to work, you have to continue to update yourself. And therefore, to that extent, the relevance of that first college degree for your generation will go down, right? Even today, for me, when let's say people look at me and look for whatever, they do look at my college and say, yeah, okay, you had a good college. But what they give weightage to, what have I done after that? What have I used that thing for? Have I created an impact? Have I learned something new? So there could be peers of mine who came from the same colleges, but let's say if they did not utilize that skill set in a good way, they didn't create an impact, didn't learn well, they may not have the same value as I do, right? And vice versa, someone else may have done much better than me in terms of utilizing that, right? So I think over time, the value of the college degree will go down for me also, and for you also even more, because so many things will happen in the next 30, 40 years, which is your working lifetime, that unless you are able to demonstrate that you have picked up new skills, you have unlearned, relearned, all of that, I think therefore it will be less. So net, the relevance of college degree for your generation will be quite different than it was for us. I think it will be slightly less relevant than it was for us, because for us it was the only one degree. You guys will do a lot more things. The world will change a lot, and what you may have learned in college may totally undergo a change. And people will say, "Oh, you learned that," and frankly, after that, if you didn't learn anything, then what good are you for me? And unfortunately, what is tending to happen in college education is that a lot of focus is actually on job ready skills, because colleges are motivated to get you into a job very quickly. See, if you look at the incentive system of a college, they will say, what is the CTC that my students are getting, right? So if you think about the motivation of a college, they will want to place you very quickly to the highest bidder that comes to the college. If you look at them, those companies and companies like us, they are also looking for very ready-made talent who can hit the ground running and start doing things, right? Now, you will also agree that there is about a bit of theory and then there is practice. Sometimes you can know practice but not know the theory. I mean, if you are all in the engineering field, you will agree that there will be operators in a factory who have not been educated. So practically they are reasonably good, they know what to do, but they don't fully understand the theory. So even in the manufacturing job, sometimes an engineering graduate, a GET, will kind of sit on top of a worker, in a traditional manufacturing job. So I think what the colleges are doing now to graduates is they're in many ways making them very practical, but many a times taking them away from basic theoretical understanding, which I think is a problem. Because what will never change is that basic theory and basic knowledge. What will change is the practical application of it. So the computer languages and all of that, they will undergo a lot of change, but the theory of computation will not change. So I think there is a bit of a dilemma that I see in the education system, that the metric for a college is to get you a job. The company wants you to have very practical skills so that they can quickly deploy you and get you productive. But I think what will help you in the long run to have a very strong foundation of whatever discipline that you are part of, which at times can be neglected by you or the college as well. So the only suggestion I can make is that don't try to maximize money making in the short run, at least, because many a time you can get a very high paying job by knowing a tactic which is very relevant. But if that tactic becomes irrelevant very soon, and if you don't have the basic grounding, then being able to learn a new tactic is harder. It's almost like, I mean, you can learn a couple of languages, but if you don't know the background and the theory behind it, and if the languages become obsolete, then are you still as relevant to someone else or not? So I do think that from an education perspective, try to get your basic grounding right. Try to make sure that things that will change very quickly, those skills you can acquire at any point in time, but things that will not change quickly are the ones you need to invest in at an early stage in the career. And those can be both soft skills and hard skills. In fact, if you look at some of these people like Elon Musk and many others, I mean, when people are asking them what should people study, They're saying physics and maths. They're saying physics and maths are the basics. And frankly, if you knew that, you can do anything else. So that's one way of thinking about it. And certainly just knowing a few computer languages and all of that clearly is the totally other extreme of what is being talked about. So I would say try to, of course, you have to get a job, so learn some of the practical skills, but don't ignore the basics. I don't know whether I answered your question or not, Vishnu Priya.
That's really great, sir. That was the great input for my question. You covered all the points, sir. Thank you. And sir, one more thing is, what postgraduate program is suggest for a student who wants to pursue a career in data analytics?
Yeah. See, what tends to happen is behind these questions that you're asking me, there is a assumption being made that what skill set will have market value, right? Now, I would, in fact, today what I do these days is that whenever a question is asked, whether I ask that question to myself or someone asks me, I said, what is the basic assumption I am making in asking that question? And is that basic assumption going to be valid all the time or not? So I think the assumption through which your question is arising is actually an assumption of the past of my generation, where there were very few things. Choices were limited. So people would say, okay, which one will fly? Let's catch on to a trend which will fly and we'll do well. So my dad latched on to saying doctor, engineer. He put me into both, made me study biology also, which I did not like. But that's it. So I thankfully didn't become a doctor. But in a scarcity environment, you latch on to a trend because you know that that's the only thing which will pay you. And if I learned something else, I wouldn't have been employed. My view is that in your world and our world also today, there are lots of different opportunities. There are so many different trends that are possible. They are not just two or three trends that were there in my generation. But the question that you are asking and the question that we all ask are rooted in the old data set where there were few choices and people say, what's trending? Can I latch onto it? Today, if you see so many new professions and so many ways in which people are doing well. So my general thinking is that past data in the scarcity environment, trend spotting was a good strategy. You spot the trend. Today, trend setting is a better strategy that you can set the trend that you like. And if you look around, lots of people are trend setters. The first person who became a YouTuber was setting a trend. And I'm not saying YouTuber is the only one, but if you look around, different people are doing things that were unheard of before. So I think that in this new world, there's so many possible options that you don't necessarily have to follow a certain path that someone else followed. And therefore, your question of which course should I pick up really assume that, oh, I can figure out a trend, I can latch on to it and learn that. I don't think it's so important. My personal view would be that as an individual, try to see what is it that you like more. And if you develop on the strengths or thing that you like, eventually it will lead you to some better outcomes for yourself. And I mean, there are so many, AI and data. I mean, people. So, cousin of mine last year sent me a list of AI and data courses that her son was going to apply for. She said, "Bhaiya, please tell me which one." I said, frankly, anyone. Who am I to tell which one? All of them will have some relevance. So, as long as he likes something, do it. And over time, anyway, that's not the end of it. He'll add other things. So, I would say, Vishnu Priya, that at this point in time, if you have no idea, toss a coin. Doesn't matter. If you have an idea, just follow that. Because who's to tell which one will do well? If someone tells you also, let's say I give you an answer. You ask me, how do you know? I have no idea. No one has an idea. So sometimes when you ask a question, you should also think if someone else is going to tell you an answer, why would you trust them? What else do they know that you don't, based on which they have a superior answer to you? And many a time you will find that actually they don't. And sometimes actually they may have the wrong answers because their data set is an old data set which might be telling them something wrong. Not that they want to tell you wrong things. It's just that an old model will only throw out results based on that, right? I don't know whether I'm resonating with you or not, but I just say that you are putting too much, what should I say, faith and trust in older people for things which they have not had experience to. So I think the older people do have some good things to tell you about things that don't change. Just the basic thing about humanity and human nature. That the thing your grandmother and your aunt can tell you this is how human nature is. I can tell you, and they will be probably right because you have seen a lot of it. But things that are changing very rapidly, How can any of us tell you? We have no clue. We won't have, no one will have a clue. I think if someone has a clue, you should ask them, how do you know? You are not Nostradamus. So I think things that are changing very fast, no one can tell you anything. They can give you a broad trend that this is likely to happen, that like, no, I can give you that. Things that don't change, there we can tell you, because things that don't change, I think over time we have seen that this is how human beings behave. Trust is important. Being a good human being is important. All of those things never change, I think, in general, right? So those things you can trust the older people, but newer things you should be very skeptical of what they are telling them. You should quiz them, saying, okay, why are you telling me? And maybe you'll learn something, but eventually on those things you have to only trust your instinct. It's almost like playing any sports. If you were to ask me, should I play hockey or this thing, how can I tell you anything? Now I can tell you that yeah, cricket is the most well paid sport, but who knows, in 20 years there's an IPL of hockey which is also equally well paying. And if you really enjoyed hockey, why would I push you to do cricket? Just in the short run you will make some money, feel unhappy, later on see that hockey is thriving and you didn't choose hockey. I'm just giving a sports analogy because you can look at it that way. So I think that all of you and all of us will have a very long life. Sometimes getting too focused on the here and now and immediate, and trying to do something that you don't like may not be a good thing. I would rather say try to align to thing that you like. Over time, sabka time aayega.
That's clearly true, sir. And you covered all the real facts going on in the market. Thank you, sir, for that. My friends have some other questions for you, sir, so they'll carry
Sure,
on.
sure. And each of you now, I mean, when you hear me, if you have some thoughts and some other suggestions, you tell me, because for me also it's not as if I have all the answers. I have some experiences which I'm sharing with you, but I learn from your questions and I also learn from your own personal observation, because all of you are having some unique experiences, unique observations. So feel free to share things that resonate with you or things that are happening to you which I can learn from. So yeah, don't think that I'm the only one who has the answers and you have the questions. I have many questions. Go ahead. Yeah.
Brunda.
I'm glad to be part of this discussion today, sir. My question is, in your view, how can students leverage Python basics like list, dictionary, and loops to start working on simple data analysis projects to build industry relevant skills early?
Yeah, and I have to say that I have no idea because I don't know any programming languages. The last time I probably wrote a computer program was in my final year of engineering. That was in 1991. Those days, Fortran was the programming language. And today, obviously, I don't remember Fortran either. So I've never done programming ever after that, because my career, I did an MBA. My first job was in a management consulting firm. Next job was in ICICI giving project finance, and then there was in G Capital and many others. So I got into the field of data analytics at a much later stage in my career. And therefore, since I had not grown from the ranks who knew all the technical skills, my role tended to be, how do you align this capability to create a business impact? So I tended to just meet with the business people to understand what are they doing, how are they doing, where can data science make an impact? Is it in logistics? Is it in energy? Is it in retail? Is it in marketing? So I was far more a business oriented person and a commercially minded person because of my consulting and banking background, to say, how can data science help business make money or save money and all of that. And therefore my job never entailed me to pick up the technical skills, although there were other people in my team who did that. So I have no way to suggest to you anything about anything technical, to say which language should you pick up, where are the libraries, what is GitHub all about. I know all the terms, but I haven't seen them myself. So I can certainly connect you to other technical people in my team who can guide you, but I have no suggestion to offer on a technical topic at all to anyone. I can only say that you should eventually also learn to connect technology that you have to business. And my favorite sort of analogy these days is, I'm telling people that you should become a full stack human being. And the full stack is science or technology at the bottom, commerce in the middle, and humanities at the top. So think of it like a Maslow's pyramid. So you have business strategy, you have the commercial aspect of the business, and then you have the technology. So I say, what are you trying to solve? Will it make money? And now let's solve it. So I would say that while we all learn technology, which is at the bottom, but the goal of technology is to create some impact and in an economical fashion if we are in a capitalistic world. So let's say, and just to give an example, we have a company which makes cement, and they spend a lot of money on transporting cement, and cement transport is a very important cost in that business. So if you can somehow optimize the logistics, which is all the trucks, or if we transport it by rail or sea, there can be a lot of money saved for the business. So there are optimization algorithms that you can come up with to say, how do you move your trucks in the best possible way to have a lesser cost per ton of cement movement, and therefore which problem to solve, how to think about the economics of it. Some of those aspects, when added to your technical skill, will make you a full stack human being, which is my latest term, versus just being a technical person, which can be limiting because you know how to solve it, but you don't know what is worth solving and you don't know what is the commercial worth of that. So therefore, I encourage in my team a lot of people, engineers who get hired to say, while you have learned science, understand commerce and humanities. Humanities is really what is worth solving and why and what's the business problem. And commerce is saying what's the impact. You don't want to solve the most trivial problem, which has a see. People tend to solve tough problem which are technically tough. What I'm saying is you should solve the tough problem which will make the business far more impactful. So there can be a problem which is actually quite simple, but it will save you 100 crores. There can be a very complex problem which will save you 1 crore. I would suppose this 1 crore problem, forget it. Maybe it's very intellectually stimulating and you'll use some great neural network model. And this one is not so important, but let's do it first so that the business benefit. Then you can on the side do that as well. So I think, how do you think about business? Because end of the day, every individual who's in whichever company is there to help the business become more successful. And I attended a talk by a famous management guru called Ram Charan 10, 15 years ago. And I only remember one thing that he had said in the opening statement of his this thing. I don't remember what else he said. He said, whenever you are in any company, the first thing that you need to know is how does your company or your business make money, and what can you do to help them do that. Seems very simple, but most of the time people are unable to comprehend what is the business I am in, how are this business making money, how can I contribute to it. But if everyone could do that, I think they'll be far more successful and far more satisfied also, because they can see the value of the work that they do. But for the lack of it, many a time people are seeking satisfaction in the complexity of the problem, technical complexity, which is okay, which is also good. I mean, as a research person or an academic person, that's fine. But when you are a commercial person, that is not always good enough. So that is what I have learned, Vrinda. So I may not be able to answer your technical question, which I can lead you to others, but I would encourage you to, get other sort of subjects also learned, so that when you combine all three of them, which is humanities, commerce, and science, then you are able to make a very good business contribution wherever you are.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your key points. Okay.
Harsh?
Yes, sir. I have a question similar to Brunda and Vishnu Priya. So, you have seen how data science changed through the your decades in the career, like from Dell to Aditya Birla Group. Now, the data science, what we thought of as purely data, has also been involving AI and other aspects. And there have been recent developments in this industry also, like quantum computing, Gen AI, and other things. So, what do you think is the next big thing we should invest in?
Yeah. So I'm reminded of a question that Jeff Bezos was asked. These days on Instagram, there are these short reels which will somehow show up. So I remember one of those reels that I showed. So he was asked that, oh, so everything is changing. How do you keep track with it? And as a CEO of Amazon, how do you, predict the future, and how do you invest? I mean, similar question that you were asking me. And he said, I don't worry about, or I don't build businesses on things that are changing. I build businesses on things that are constant. And he said, customer obsession will remain constant. That's not going to change. So my anchor is customer obsession. And any technology or tool that allows me to do that, I'm happy to pick it up, is what his answer was. To me, I think I resonated a lot with that eventually, what is our objective function? What is our goal function? I think our goal is to help business or help society become better, right? And if we are sure, and if we are, like I was telling you about the the humanities and the commerce part of it, that you understand that this problem is worth solving and we can solve it only using this, then you bring in the technology that helps. So I'm just giving you a slightly tangential example. I was recently 2 weeks ago in a university in Bangalore called TDU. TDU stands for Transdisciplinary University. So a friend of mine, he's a food researcher. He's a PhD guy. He worked in Unilever and now he's a researcher there. And they are utilizing Ayurveda, applying the Sarvam AI model to infer what is there in our text and trying to create food which is relevant for all of us. So their ultimate intent is that for your phenotype, apparently our food is connected to our phenotype and not genotype. And phenotype is really our skin texture, color, all of that. So based on your phenotype, they can recommend what food is good for you and all that. So that's the type of research they're doing. But practically what they said was, I said, give me an example of what have you done or what have you delivered. So they said, there's a midday meal program where there's a guidance that every child should get so much of protein and carbohydrate and all that. And it should be delivered in 6 rupees. And it should be, tasty also, so that they eat. Otherwise, children don't eat food which is tasty. So they worked on that project, and the current food either did not have the nutrients or was not tasty enough. And they finally were able to design a food which met all these criteria. So now if you think about this, this is a real problem. We want to feed 1.5 crore children with a good meal which is tasty, right? And for that, you do what you have to do. So I would say if you start to focus more on identifying big problems that are worth solving, and then you say, oh, to solve this, can I use blockchain? Can I use quantum? Whatever it is, doesn't matter. And I don't need to know everything myself, because see, there are so many things happening. So if this thing requires quantum and I'm not a quantum expert, I at least are collaborative enough, or I know people who can come on board to do that. So I would think that the future belongs to a team player, and you have to think of yourself as a team player. So even if you are thinking about cricket, you might be a wicket keeper, but once in a while you have to be a captain to know how all the other components come together. You have to be able to say that while I am myself a wicket keeper and I don't know batting and bowling as well, but when I am a captain, I know what to do with the batsman, what to do with the bowler, and things like that. So I think that the world is becoming so complex that no one will be an expert. But can you be an expert in something, but be aware of adjacent competencies, so that when you are required to be a captain, which is you have to solve that problem, you know how to define it. You also know how to get the right players involved and lead them to victory. I'm just using a cricket analogy. So that's how I would think about this question, Harsh. Rather than saying which technology to bet on, which I should learn, I would say learn things that you enjoy doing, learn them very well, apply them, but then you focus on a problem, then bring the best people apart. I mean, if your technology is not the best suited to solve the problem, don't use it. Bring Vishnu Priya and Brunda, who may have some other type of technology which may be most suitable for your thing. So don't be wedded to the input, be wedded to the outcome. So वो कहते हैं ना, you should perform your karma as per your dharma. So figure out the dharma, करना क्या है. Once you figure that out, then whatever is required to be done, doesn't matter if I don't know it, I'll get people to do it. As is how I think about it.
Got it, sir. So from what I uh, conclude from your replies, that I should rather be focused on solving a simple problem and then think about like what all things I would require or the technology I would require, rather than clinking on to like what would be the next big thing.
As a fourth student, Pankaj, I also have a question for you. This is on education investment vis-a-vis career returns, something which I picked up from LinkedIn. A lot of students are actually asking that. So many engineering grads in India face the dilemma of high tuition vis-a-vis modest starting salaries, especially in rural or tier 2 colleges. So a couple of questions. What advice would you offer students on evaluating their return on education investments? That's number one. And how can the institutions better align cost with value in terms of job readiness and salary outcomes?
So for all such questions, I always have a example, and then from that example, I will derive some answers. So there was a young boy, friend's son, who came to me, and these days a lot of kids are working in data and AI for some reason, and all my friends send them to me, because I'm supposed to be the expert in data and AI. So they all come to me. So I said, okay, I've always loved meeting young people. And I start by saying, "मेरे को कुछ नहीं आता है." Like I tell them, don't assume that I know it all, but ठीक है, whatever I know, I'll tell you, but don't take it for granted. So he was from bits and all, and he had left some very good job with BCG and some good banks and all, and worked for some startup. In 3-4 years, he was earning some very good money, 30, 40, 50 lakhs, I don't know, some really atrocious amount of money he was earning. So I asked him, so you're great, you have a problem? He said, "Uncle, I think I'm earning too much." I said, "Oh, first time someone has told me he's earning too much." So I said, "Good, that's a very good place to start." I said, "I don't know anyone in the world who has ever come and told me that I'm earning too much. They always feel that they can earn more. But since you have asked that question, let's spend some time thinking about this topic." So I told him that if you look at the last 30 years, which is your dad and me, and we started at a very low base. If I were to put it in the Excel sheet and say what is the cumulative annual growth rate, CAGR as they call it, of our salaries, my suspicion is, because the country has done well and we have also done well, must be some high double digit, maybe 15-20% kuch aayega. So, yes, uncle, I do think so, because Papa also keeps saying when I was young, we didn't have so much money. Now, I don't think we have that problem. So I said, if you apply that 15-20% to your number today for the next 30 years, what do you think? He said, "Uncle, nahi ho sakta. This model will break. It won't work." I said, "Great, very good. So you are good in maths. You didn't have to go to Excel. You already know it will break." I said, "Now let's bring it to the real world to say why it will break, and let's understand those reasons. Because once we understand the reason, see, one is the math, the other is the reality, which the maths is simulating. So I said, let's understand why this model is breaking, and do we relate to that those reasons or not." So I said, going up is very good. No one questions that. You are doing well, the economy is doing well, you are earning more, so that we don't have to worry. It can become zero. You also know, suddenly you lose your job, company folded up, or your division closed down. That can happen. That will happen. Sometimes the company is doing bad. You are in a desperate situation to change your job. You may take a pay cut, go somewhere. There can also be a situation where you want to change your field and you're not good at it. And you may say, "Okay, I want to do this. Maybe I'm not good. Maybe I'll take a pay cut to start with, but over time I'll enjoy it and I'll come back." So I said, "Are all of these possible?" He said, "Yeah, uncle, all this is happening also to my friends also. And in fact, to me also, I'm in a central role. I want to do a sales role." So my founder said that, "You don't know sales. How can I give you the same money that you are earning in this role to do sales?" So I'm negotiating with him. But yeah, obviously he'll not give me the same money, because if I have to learn and if I don't know it, why would he pay me and all of that, right? So the point I'm making, Ravi, is that we have looked education as a very simple ROI, one project where you invest money and you come out on the other side. So in when I was in ICICI, we would do this. Oh, we will invest this money in this project. This project will give return and we'll get ROI. I think that worked well in the waterfall world, where things were stable and constant. And in a waterfall environment, you can predict, you can do a net present value and say, this is the value of it. Now, we all know and we all acknowledge that the world is agile. In the agile world, there are only 2 week sprints. No one has a 5-year horizon. You have no idea. Maybe this product will not last 5 years. You will close it down and say, "Chalo." So therefore, based on all of this, I think that the question of ROI of education itself needs to be questioned. That what is the question am I asking, and why and what? To me, education is all about giving some of those things, like I said, some brand, some education, some network, some soft skills. How much I want to spend on it is, to me, almost like any other investment that you'll do in your toothpaste or car or shoes. If you have more money, buy a higher brand. But do you really know what the ROI of that shirt or car will be? May not be, you don't know. So to me, I would say, think of education in the same way. Don't have too many expectations, just like you don't have too many expectations of your shoes or car or shirt. Education like that, it will have some relevance for a while, but after that, you have to invest one more time, just like you did for shoes and car. Education was seen as that one good that you invested once and reaped the value for the lifetime. Yeah. It is now, in my mind, becoming a consumable good, like all the others that I mentioned, who will never last a lifetime. And you will actually keep upgrading. Just like, car and shoes also, we are upgrading every 3 years. Education also, if you think about it, it is actually asking us to upgrade ourselves every time. We are not doing it, or we may be doing it without knowing it. So therefore, I think that question is to say, based on your ability to pay, invest only as much that you are not, taking a big loan which so when people in the US, are taking big loans, even in India, they're still using the assumption that I have a lifetime to pay it. You don't have a lifetime to pay it. You'll have to make the investment one more time in 5 years, another time in 10, 15 years. So don't think of that education as that one big project that you did once in lifetime. Even homes, our parents would build one home. Today, I don't know whether people are going to build one home or three homes. Then can you put all your saving in one home or maybe less? So I do think that as life expectancy is growing, our aspirations are changing. What I know is we should not think of education as that one big investment to be reaped over lifetime. It is a series of small investments, and it should be based on your paying capacity so that you don't graduate with such a heavy load on your shoulder that you have to do unnecessary things that you would otherwise not do. I don't know, Ravi, again, whether I answered the question directly or not, but those are the thoughts that come to mind.
No, absolutely, Pankaj. Thank you. Thank you for that. Vishnu, go ahead.
Sir, these days I've been attending many company drives, sir, and I found some gaps between the industry and academia, sir. So I would like to know how the student can bridge this gap and what is the reality behind this gap, sir.
See, again, if you follow all of these discussions we are having, the industry moves much more rapidly because industry has become agile. But education is not rapid, no? Because think about education as education is almost like an infrastructure. If you have made a road or a dam, you can't change it. You have made a railway line which is meter gauge, you can't make it wide gauge. So education is like that. Once you have made a big investment, it's very hard to change. It's like the Titanic, it doesn't turn fast. So that challenge is there. I think what I'm seeing happening is that some of those education institutes are starting to bring, business people as professor of practice, so that you get some knowledge from the outside. Many of them are saying, please do a 6-month internship in your final year, so that you get to learn the real world. I have also seen some institutes saying that even in the first year or second year or whatever, when you have a break, please do an internship. I have come up with a very new model where they are saying from the first year itself, you can spend some time doing an internship forever. So these people are for the 4 year doing something. So they are connected to the industry. So I think varying levels of industry connectivity is being built into the education system by some institutions. If they are not doing it as a student, can you mimic it somehow? Try to pick up some part-time job where you can do something so that you get to know the real world as early as possible, so that in your education also you can focus on things that matter. Because many a time, when we are studying, and I studied with no experience, I studied 4 years of engineering with no experience, then I studied 2 years of MBA with no. So for 6 years, I had no idea what I was studying will ever be used and in what form it will be used, right? But today, I think it is far more easier. There are so many at least I hear there are these websites where you can pick up part-time assignment, freelance assignment, all that. I would think that if the education institute has given you the opportunity, please use it. If not, try to synthetically create it for yourself to get some real world exposure that will focus you on what you need to learn. Because many a time the theory that is being taught may or may not be as relevant in today's day and age.
That was a wonderful insight, sir, from you. I like your analytical skills, sir, because the base assumptions you are considering them and why the student is asking this question. Basing on that, you are answering, and I really like that, sir. I've learned a lot from this.
See, there is a term that many people use. They call it first principle thinking. Some other people call it common sense. I'm telling you, please go to that because those things have become uncommon for some reason. Because I think our education system and our society and our corporate system has brought in some ideas and some frameworks which were relevant for the industrial era. Frankly, if you just zoom out a bit, if you think about companies, corporations, all of that, they are probably 100. The way we see it is probably 100 years old, 150 years old. A lot of our education system was also created to feed these factories in some ways, right? That these are corporations, they want to recruit people, give them ready-made talent, right? That's how all of this came into being. Now, if you look at these corporations, most of them were on the area of manufacturing. They were not in agriculture, they were not in services. So our entire, supply chain of education was created to feed the manufacturing era, not agriculture, not services, because agriculture was not corporatized and services is a much recent phenomenon. So if you look at the three sort of parts of any GDP, these are the three that happen: So manufacturing has driven a lot of thinking, which is good. It was good. But now, because it is services, it is cognitive, many of the management principles, many of the business principles, financial principles, HR principles are not relevant anymore. They were created for the manufacturing era. So our education system is taking a while to adopt to this new need, where the needs are quite different. I mean, think about it this way. Why should for 22 years everyone have the same educational experience? Every 1 year you get promoted, every 1 year you get some. Did God create people to say for 22 years you're all the same? You should go to the same way of development? No. Our previous Gurukul system and our future system might not resemble this education system. It doesn't have to, because people may have different purpose, different paths, and all of that, and they can be achieved in many different ways. So I'm just saying that if we zoom out and think about it from first principle, many of things are not a given, and we should not become subservient to this system, because this system was created for something else. Hota kya hai, we tend to somehow, because we are born in a society which is structured in a certain way, we mentally become subservient to the system, but the system's assumptions have changed. So I'm just, I don't know, maybe I'm talking too much abstract, but I'm just saying that just trust your common sense, trust your instinct, and trust your own experience more than anyone else's. There's a movie I remember, it was a Hindi movie of Paresh Rawal. It was called Aankhon Dekhi. And he would say that only when I have seen it, only I'll believe it. I don't believe anything that I haven't seen, and something like that. So I would say only when you have experienced it should you believe it. Everything else is a hypothesis, very nice hypothesis. I will test it out for myself. If it works for me, I'll test it. Otherwise, I won't.
Brunda, go ahead.
So my next question is, how has the role of analytics leader changed over last 2 decades from when you are at Dell and Wells Fargo to now at Aditya Birla Group?
Yeah, I think the roles would have changed based on the industry, maybe the company, and maybe the individual, right? So if I just look at Dell, there was someone in that role before me, and there were at least 2 people who came in that role after me. And if I just look at Dell as one, there were 4 leaders at different times of the company's evolution or that team, and they had their own different strengths also. Like I said, na, that a wicketkeeper captain will lead a team differently than a batsman captain, right? There's no right answer. As long as the team is winning, no one cares, right? So many a times we are unable to comprehend the distinction between the stage of evolution of that company, the need that the team has at that point in time, and the style or the strength of the leader. So I think when you ask a generic question to say how has the role of a leader changed, I think it averages too many things to be meaningful to you. Because sometimes, as they say, na, what is the average depth of this river? And we all know that it is a meaningless number, because you will drown if you just use that metric to cross the river. So similarly, many of these average questions don't give you meaningful insights that you can act upon. So to me, the meaningful thing that I have seen is that over time, the one thing that has changed very rapidly is the use of all kinds of technologies. So 20 years ago, AI, ML, blockchain, many of these things didn't exist. So one is, the leaders today have to be far more multifaceted to be aware that many of these technologies are out there, and to be able to solve a problem. There's no one thing. There are many different ways to do it, and therefore be cognizant of all the developments and all that. 20 years ago, there's only probably one way of doing things, right? In fact, before that Dell role, I used to be in Six Sigma in G. There was one way to do process improvement. It used to be called DMake and Six Sigma and all that. But today, process improvement and all can be done by 20 different ways. There's so many tools and technology, right? So one is that you have to have a multi-skilled team, which is always learning. You necessarily didn't have. So I think the role of the leader is to be able to hire, train, groom a set of people who have different skills and continue to evolve, versus maybe that need was not as acute 20 years ago, because there weren't too many skills out there. What would you do, right? So that way things have changed. Second is, the companies have changed, the marketplace has changed depending on which so if you are in a bank, the competitive pressure is different. If you're in a manufacturing company, it is different. If you're in a high-tech company, it's very different. Who would have imagined what NVIDIA would become in 2-3 years time and all of that. So I think the more relevant thing is to see that if you are a person in any company, are you able to quickly understand the context of that company what will it take for them to win in the marketplace, and how can you provide the muscles that will allow them to win in the marketplace, and then I think you are good. And that will vary from context to context.
Harsh.
Following up on my question on AI, like AI today now replaces like humans in creative tasks rather than the repetitive tasks that we thought it would replace us. And I'm sure you would now also be using AI in different things that you used to do manually. So, how do you think the role of the data science will look in the coming 10 years from now?
Right. I think one of the suggestions I have for everyone is to say, don't tie your identity too tightly to what you have studied or what role you have been assigned at the, let's say, the beginning of the career. I, for one reason, for actually no reason, there's no reason. I don't have a specific identity because I've done quite a few different roles. Like I said, I was a consultant, then I became a banking person, then some kind of an offshoring person, then data person, and something else. And tomorrow I could be anyone else, right? And therefore, my own experience and career has been that can I make a contribution in some meaningful way in the environment that I am? Doesn't matter what that company does, and doesn't matter what skills are required. I do have basic skills of engineering and MBA, and I'll figure out how to utilize those skills and bring it together to make an impact. So in some ways, my own career has been that I am a chef. Depending on whether you want to eat Thai, Chinese, or whatever, I have the raw material. I may not know everything, but I will figure out how to mix those raw materials to serve the meal that is relevant to you. That's how, in some ways, I have. I mean, when I look back, it wasn't the case earlier, but when I look back, if I were to put a flavor into how do I describe my career, would be some basic raw material was picked up, and then those were mixed around depending on the need of the customer at that point in time to make some impact, right? So whether it was consulting or banking or data or whatever, you were trying to make a business impact, bringing together your own skill sets and the skill sets of the teams that you build. So therefore, I would think that if you think of yourself as a data scientist, or if I had thought of myself as only a management consultant because that was my first job, I may have been limited. There are many people who have remained management consultant for 30 years, nothing right or wrong. But I think the way the world is changing, it is better not to be linked to a typical title or a skill, because skills and titles can change. But the purpose is what will not change. As Jeff Bezos says, na, that I would rather focus on things that won't change. So I think over time, if you can align yourself more to a certain discipline, domain, a problem that we're solving, and the tools and techniques can change. So you may still be a good data science person, but that is not your entire identity. Over time, you may become a person in healthcare domain or in food domain or some other domain, and each domain is very different. It requires a different set of data, different technique, different whatever, right? You could also be a researcher in data to say, I know all about data. So I think there can be many different paths for you in front of you. So don't get too tied to one domain to begin with. Try to experiment, try to see. Maybe you will like certain areas more, go in that direction. So again, think of yourself as an agile product. Keep adding features to yourself, and let your own product self keep evolving with the times based on the feedback that you are getting from the market.
Got it, sir. Also, I had one more question regarding the analytics part. I keep hearing people talk about synthetic data. So, from a data analyst point of view, what do you think? Like, we should either stick to real world data, or the synthetic data gives us more valuable insights?
No, I think in some ways, and like I said, I don't have very strong points of view on some of these things, but I would say that even in the past, we would simulate things, we will do what if analysis, we will imagine new things, all of that. To me, synthetic data is also allowing you to simulate, try out new things, all of that. So to the extent, like I said, it serves your purpose. Synthetic data is good. So to me, no technology or no technique in itself good or bad. If it is serving a good purpose, it is good. By the way, it is serving a bad purpose, then it is bad. So like I said, guns and knives and nuclear power can be used for good things, but can also be used for bad things. So I would think that I would be rather focused on what is the goal that I have, what is the purpose I have. And if for that purpose, synthetic data allows me to try out new things, experiment with something, I should use it. But if it doesn't serve my purpose, why would I do that? So to me, I'm kind of, like I said, much more purpose driven. In fact, for that also I have that Maslow's hierarchy type of thing to say there's process, there's product, and there is purpose. When the world was very stable, we were all process owners. And then the world became a bit agile. We became product owners. I think it's time for us to become purpose owners, where product and process will remain. But product and process will vary and move, but purpose will not move. So, like I said, it's good to make your career or your focus on things which will not change too fast and let the other thing become variable. If you focus yourself on being a process owner and the process disappears, then the job will get lost. So I think when people say that will jobs get lost, I said, yeah, many jobs are premised on a JD, which is a process owner JD. Some JDs could be product owner JDs. Clearly, process and product will change. And if you are only predicating your life on that, your job will get lost. But if you are predicating yourself on the highest order, which is purpose, and to you, product and process is something that you'll continue to learn and unlearn, then it's unlikely your job will get lost, is my view. So I think, like I said, if you're a doctor treating patient, that's your job. You want to treat patients with cancer. You will learn any product, you learn any new process. But if you're just a person who say, I read X-ray, now X-ray is gone. What do I do? So you have defined your job based on a very basic level of process, X-ray reading, and now no longer X-ray exists. You have nothing to do. So that's how I think about some of these things. That how do I tie myself to a higher order goal, which is likely to remain constant for long, and other things I will pick up versus lying on a more tactical goal, which will change and then I'm at a loss. But companies sometimes may force you to become a tactician. Say, oh, if you know this, we'll hire you. Good for them because they need that skill at that point in time, but may not be good for you. You may earn some money for a while, but if that thing, just like I said, X-ray reading example, maybe the doctor career path is like a 10-year of studying and you keep studying and no money in return. But maybe if you started reading X-ray, very quickly they'll give you a job. Say, yaar, why should I study doctor? Yaar, take so much time. Let me get this money. But suddenly this X-ray reading job disappears and you're gone. So I think that's the type of trade-off we all have to keep constantly thinking about, applying first principle to say, where am I investing my time and money? What kind of return can I get? How long can I see? Things like that. So I think maybe I'm just giving you some ideas. I don't have a very specific answer to these things, but to just provoke some thinking, to think differently than how sometimes we are asked to think based on the societal norm that exists today.
So I guess you are mainly focusing that we should be very uh, adaptable to what technology persists in the future,
Yeah.
and we should constantly keep learning as to what will be required.
Yeah. I have a friend who's a doctor he knows Python programming. He was asking me one day what RAM I should use. I didn't know the answer. I said, yeah, this fellow was a doctor. He didn't do maths very well. Now he knows more than me because he's so focused on his job that his job requires him to do some research and he has to do data analysis. And these doctors also have to do a lot of research. So they have to learn these things. So he's today better than me and on the technical stuff also because he's purpose driven. His purpose is to save lives and do some research, and that required him to pick up these skills, right? So I'm just saying that when you have a strong purpose, you'll pick up those skills which are required, and you would have seen it also in your own life. Maybe you were driven by something, and for that, if you had to learn something, you did it. So I think these are again commonsensical things that have happened to us in some other part of our life, but sometimes we are not able to see it as is.
Thank you, sir.
So Pankaj, the last theme is where you can actually ask questions to the kids.
So again, maybe I'll ask one generic question to all three, and then maybe a specific one. So the generic question is that when you look at your own cohort, the people that you engage with, and so on and so forth, what are some of the things that they are most worried about, and what are some of the things that you think they are very confident about? Because people are sometimes confident about something and worried about something else. So I'm just curious, and it may vary from your cohort to your cohort, but I'm very curious to know what are folks in your generation worried and confident about. Harsh. Okay, should be Vishnu Priya. Chalo.
So that was a great question, sir. So the thing is, in my network, when I
You're not able to hear
observe
from.
Now we can hear. Tell.
Yeah.
in many of my conversations or interaction with my network, sir, I found out that people having a good grip on skills, they are being so confident. And people who are learning and they feel as if they can't achieve, or people with self doubts are being so underconfident, and they're not correctly focusing on the things they have to. So this is what I observed in my networks.
So you're seeing people who have some good skills, they are generally confident in life, and some others who may not have acquired the skills are having self-doubt. Okay.
Yes, sir, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Harsh.
So from what I understand is people are really confident about that they will surely get a job, like a decent paying job, because one or the other person, they are learning a new language every day, or learning a new software. And we were insisted on doing a industry internship in the second year itself. So now, people in my cohort, they also know that what are the industry standards required. And but at the same time, they are worried that how quickly will they, as you said, they consider education as a investment, and they are constantly thinking about how easily they can get the return on their investment and how quickly they can get it, rather than as you said, we should focus on solving problems, but that is not their goal. Like, they are worried about that how quickly I can get the money.
So there's a bit of a competitive pressure. Maybe the parents are comparing, or they themselves are looking at their peers and thinking if they should not fall behind their peers or something like that.
Yes.
Got it. Understood. Thanks. Binda.
Yes, sir. As Harsh said, maybe people are confident that they can get jobs. If they are worried about something, means they have lack of experience. Maybe if they lag with the experience, they may be worried about the things like that.
Net, what I'm hearing is that job is not worrisome, but the continuity and the growth in that job is a question mark, which I think in the past people felt that, oh, if I get a job in a good company, then I'm done. Today, that is not the case. They're probably seeing that sometimes there is layoff, sometimes the company only closing down, sometimes not getting promotion. So just securing a job is not good enough, and they are worried about the continuity and growth, which I think in the past, I would say that Ravi and I, when we secured a good job, we felt, good, we have arrived. Now, hopefully, the company will take care of ourselves. That is not the case now, is what I'm sort of interpreting from your feedback.
So something I would like to contribute from to what you said. This is the first-hand experience which our visiting faculty told us. He is around in his 30s, so he's even not worried about a continuity in our company. In the span of 6 years, he told us he has changed five companies, so he is not used to working more than 1 year in a company. He has gone from Geo to Tata and now working at HDFC. So he said that it is very tedious to work at a single company, because after you get to know that what are they doing and what is my job role, they simply expect you to work at that position for, let's say, 4 or 5 years, and then give you a good promotion. So it's not a good good outlook from a competitive point of view. Like, uh, s- it is very tedious and boring to work at a single company.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear that also from a lot of people to say that the same company sometimes doesn't allow them to go at the pace that they would like to go at. They think that the company may slow down, and the company is also right that they want people to be stable for some time and that. So I think there is a mismatch among people and company expectation that time. So I hear that. Yeah. But it's also tough to keep finding a new job every year sometimes, especially if the market is bad and let's say you get laid off and no one is hiring, then what do you do? So I think some of those concerns also exist in people's mind. I think to me, the one answer is that if you get money, don't spend it all, because many a time I'm finding that the saving sort of tendency is a bit low these days. And in our parents' day, they would always tell us, please save, please save. Now I think my kids my kids would be older than you, they don't think of saving as much. And sometimes we have also not shown them that saving is important, and we are doing it now. But I think that one thing is, if you have enough saving, then at least you are not so worried about some job loss or some break or some such thing.
Great. Pankaj, any other question you want to ask?
I think the only other thing I wanted to ask again, I thought I would be specific, but this is generic. What are your parents telling you or expecting of you, or the elders in the family? Because at the stage that you are, there's a lot of family influence still, parents or uncles or whoever it is. What are they telling you or expecting you to do or not do? Just go get a high paying job somehow.
Definitely, sir. There's a lot of peer pressure while we are for social networking or social gathering. People do ask, what are you currently studying? What are your ambitions? My son is doing this. My daughter is doing this. So what are you planning? Even parents will show them as a role model, and something like, they are the inspiration, as they're earning the highest packages in their life. So they parents are much into the social pressures, sir. I feel that, because personally I've experienced a lot of situations and scenarios that I've come across.
So therefore, there is a pressure on you also to align to that societal expectation, to maybe to even make your parents proud in front of their other relatives or friends, that you have to adhere to a certain standard and thing like that. So yeah, that is, I mean, that's not new. It was always there. But I think it is even more now, because there are too many other kids doing too well. So you are even more pressure. Got it. Got it.
Sir, in my case, the high paying job, that pressure is coming from my peers and my teachers. They are constantly telling us that you need to equip yourself with new skills to get the higher paying job, because it's very competitive out there. But from what my parents tell me, they actually tell me that you should enjoy what you are doing, and you should have an interest in it to actually excel in that field. So you should rather concentrate and develop your skills in the field in which you are interested in, rather than which one is the most highest paying. And they also concentrate and uh, tell me to network more and more, so that you get to know that what's going on in the market.
And are your parents in a job themselves? And see, sometimes it also depends on what your parents are doing. And I'm curious to know, Harsh, what your parents are doing, and also Vishnu Priya yourself, because parents sometimes also are driven by their own context and what they have done. So what do your parents do, Harsh, and then maybe Vishnu Priya also?
So my mother is a housewife, and my father owns a textile business in
Achha.
Surat.
So he's a businessman. He's not a corporate person. Got
No,
it.
sir.
Got it. Got it. And Vishnu Priya yourself?
My dad is working as a project manager in IBM, sir. And my mother, she's associate professor in zoology, currently working in Government Degree College, Janagaon.
Okay. Very interesting. And obviously, I can't find any correlation between parents' profession and their desire to have their children excel or not. I mean, you probably know that I'm more aligned to what Harsh's parents are doing, to say, take a long view, don't get bogged down by short term, is how I'm interpreting what they're doing, which I kind of relate to much more. But I would say a lot of parents are more like, what Vishnu Priya you said, that they are also driven by societal pressures and so on and so forth. In fact, in many business families, Harsh, I have seen that the parents will say, "Why are you working for someone else? You should do your own thing." So I heard a lot of kids tell me that,
Correct, sir.
"Why are you even working? You come back." So, yeah, Vrinda.
Yes, my father is working as a New India insurance company, and my mother is housemaker. So they are not from corporate jobs. So they just suggest me to be confident and consistent for my work, what I'm doing, so that it will reflect to my sibling also. Yes, this is the guidance I get from my parents.
Yeah, yeah. And I resonate with that as well. That I think too much of outcome focused and too early in life, I think can make people take wrong decisions, in my view. So I would feel that the young people should be given a much more longer lease to discover what they are good at, what works, what doesn't work, versus forcing them into a certain box, which may look nice to their peers and so on. So that's my general this thing. But again, there is no one right answer. That's just a thing. So thank you very much. I think I really enjoyed and learned a lot. Ravi, thanks for arranging it, and really insightful questions and observations from Harsh, Vishnu, Priya, and Brinda. I really liked talking to all of you.
Thanks so much for your time, Pankaj, and thank you, Brunda, Harsh, and Vishnu Priya, for a great student-led campus catalyst session. Thank you so much, all of you.
Okay, bye. Bye.